avascular necrosis. The most common location for avascular necrosis is in the hip joint. The two projections used to demonstrate avascular necrosis are the AP hip and the lateral hip projections. I will first get my patient from the radiology department. I will verify that it is the correct patient with the two main verification identifiers, which are the patient's name and the patient's date of birth. I will place my patient in the changing room, asking her to remove everything from the waist down, including pants, but the underwear can stay and set up the room. These projections will be done on tabletop. I will use a 10 by 12 lengthwise cassette in the table bucky. I will make sure that I have an SID of 40 inches. Making sure that my tube is detented and aligned with the image receptor. Now that it is aligned with the image receptor, I will again detent my tube. Now that everything is set up, I will go ahead and get my patient, and I will have her lay down on projection of the hip. We center between the ASIS and the pubic symphysis. We go to the midline at a diagonal line, and from that we go 2.5 inches. This will be about the approximate centering. Making sure that we do include the ASIS in the hip projection. Since my patient, I have a lot of light on the side of the patient, I can collimate in, making sure that I am still at a 10 by 12 collimation. I will place a right marker on the right side of the image receptor, making sure that I do not have the marker in the area of interest of the patient. Because the area of interest is the hip and we have reproductive organs inside our area of interest, I can only shield the left side of my patient. My patient is shielded. I will internally rotate her leg. This ensures that the greater trochanter of the femur is in profile, so we will not be seeing the lesser trochanter, meaning that it is superimposed over. After I rotated my patient, I will come and measure the thickness so I can decide my control factors. My patient measures 16 centimeters, so I will look at our factor chart. Since she is 16 centimeters, I will do a 78 kVp at 12 mass with a small focal spot for bony detail, 40-inch SID with the 10 by 12 receptor size. After my AP exposure, I will walk back into my room and set up for the lateral projection of the hip. The first thing I will do is get a new image receptor, still using the 10 by 12, and this time we will move the image receptor to crosswise. Still keeping the right-sided marker on the right end of the receptor. Now I will change my collimation from a 10 by 12 lengthwise to a 10 by 12 crosswise. Looks good. For this projection, I will be using a sponge to help immobilize my patient. My patient will bend her right knee up and fan it out, keeping her right foot to her left. Her ASIS and for her symphysis pubis, drawing a line and meeting in the middle. I will again go diagonally 2.5 inches, so I need to move my patient. That looks good. Still making sure that I am including her ASIS in the projection and making sure that I do have light outside of the collimation. This will be the same deal with shielding my patient. I still will not be able to shield her right side because it is in the area of interest. So I want to make sure that I am shielding the left side. is going to be a little different. Because she is set up on a sponge, we will have a little bit of magnification, so I will need to include the sponge in my measuring. She again now will measure, instead of 16, she measures 15 centimeters. I will come over to my exposure chart. My new exposure factors are going to be 76 kVp at 12 mass, again with a small focal spot for bony detail at 40-inch SID. After my exposures, I will walk my patient back to the changing room, let her get her clothes back on, and dismiss her from the radiology department.